The only way I ever can get. I'm glad you guys are here. It's gotten cold outside. But hopefully it's warm enough in here for you. How is the temp? Because the door's been opening and closing. Still okay? Okay. So our subject matter for today is about sensitivity and when we've been desensitized. Okay, so I'm seeing this, I'm bringing this up because I'm noticing it with my child. My child did not have TV growing up. Like, I didn't have cable TV for 20 years. So he didn't have that exposure. Even though he's not totally sheltered, right? He's seen TV, he's seen programs, he's seen movies, like he's exposed, and now we do have TV, so. But anyway, there was a certain point when I would go home to visit my family in North Carolina, and they just had anything playing on the TV all the time, right? And there were a couple times where my child would go into the room and he would get freaked out by something on the TV, and my dad would make fun of me, or me rather, and be like, he's too sensitive, you know, you need to expose him to more stuff. You might, I don't know. So he's never been exposed to a horror movie. So now he's 15, right? And we just had Halloween. And so he was getting a lot of peer pressure, like, let's go to this scary movie, you know? And I kept telling him, like, dude, don't go just because your friends are asking you to go. Like, I know how you feel about it. You don't want to see a scary movie. And he was like, I really don't. And I'm like, luckily they missed the start of the movie and they got to see a different movie. But he was gonna go anyway because he was feeling that pressure. And then the same thing happened this weekend. We went to a football game on Saturday, and when we were getting back, Rob and Ella was like, let's watch a scary movie tonight. I'm looking at Gabe going, no, we're not gonna watch a scary movie. He doesn't want it in his brain. I don't really want it in his brain, especially knowing he doesn't want it in his brain. Why, right? So anyway, my point in this is, when I first started yoga, before that point, I loved war movies, action movies. I watched a lot of violence. And I also read a lot of that kind of stuff. I love Robert, is his name Robert Patterson? I've already forgot the author's name. James Patterson, thank you. I loved his books. I thought they were exciting, these murder mystery books, you know? And then I started doing yoga and I realized I couldn't do that anymore. And I didn't realize it at the time. When I first started noticing the sensitivity coming with yoga was when I left class. And the sun would be especially bright, or the colors would be very vibrant, or the sounds I would be extra sensitive to. And basically I just noticed my senses were on overload when I would leave yoga. And then eventually I got accustomed to that. And then I started realizing I'm not reading James Patterson books anymore. I'm reading things from Eckhart Tolle and Dr. Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay and Carolyn Mace. And, you know, I started completely switching my reading. And it took me a while to realize I was switching to movies too. I was watching more romance movies and comedies and completely shied away from the other, to the point where now if I try to, it's not saying I never watch this stuff, because I do, right? I have a family that likes that kind of stuff, you know? And we watched a movie the other night and I couldn't even like look at it. I was like looking away and they were laughing at me. I'm like, I'm just sensitive. Sensitivity is not a weakness. That's my point. Sensitivity is when you are paying attention and you're noticing your reactions to things, your responses to things. You're noticing signals, you're noticing influences. And when we're noticing those things, that means we're really present and we're being really conscious in that moment. Think about when you're desensitized to it. I mean, think about how desensitized we are right now to the news. It's like, oh my God, can we hear any more shocking news? We've become so desensitized to it because it's constant. And I just want you to be aware of that as we go through the practice and think about maybe what you've been desensitized to that maybe you once were sensitive towards, or maybe in reverse of that. maybe what you've become more sensitive to through the practice. And at the end, I want you to notice when you leave, maybe how your senses may be a little bit more sensitive. And then also how you're continuing to apply that beyond just walking out the doors and getting into your car. So we're going to start actually sitting and breathing. You guys want to stay on your back to breathe, that's okay too. There's a few people already on their backs. So if you want to sit upright, I find it easier to sit for a longer period when I'm sitting up on something. So you can fold a blanket, you can use a bolster. It allows the knees to drop down. We're going to extend the spine, lifting the crown of the head towards the heavens, letting the shoulders relax away from the ears, and letting the palms rest down on the thighs. Close your eyes. But turn your drishti in and up towards the third eye, the midpoint of your brow. Right now, just notice what's showing up in your body. What's being presented from your heart. And any occurrences of the mind. And start blending all of these aspects together through the power of the breath. The breath that can interweave the mind, the body, and the spirit together as one. Then we'll do a little breath work. On your inhale, circle the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, you're going to place your palms together and bring them down through the midline to your heart. And then continue. Inhale, sweep the arms to your sides and up. Exhale, palms together, drawing it down through your center. And again, inhaling up and exhaling down. This time as we inhale, bring the arms up, bend the elbows, palms together over the crown, but stay here. And we'll do a different pranayama technique. Deep breath in through the nose. Suction the belly in and up, hold the breath just briefly, and exhale it all out. Keep the hands overhead, inhaling. Retaining the breath, trapping that energy at the heart. And then exhale, let it go. One more, seated mountain pose, inhaling. Uddiyana Bandha engaged. And then let the breath go. Keeping the hands overhead and affirming, my thoughts and energy rise up to touch the sky. On your next in breath, lift the arms up, and as you exhale, spray the arms around your body. Good. We're going to come into a position called Siddhasana. We actually worked on this several weeks ago. So come off the bolster or blanket. Slide your legs out for a moment into a V. Flex the ankles. Spread your toes and push down through your thighs. Lift up through your chest. Exhale, bow forward for just a moment. Just getting a little activation in the hamstrings and inner thighs. And then we're going to turn the attention to the hips. On your next inhale, gently come up. Draw the left foot in. And then the right foot in front of that. So the ankles are not under the calves, basically. That works so well for you. Awesome. Lift up through the chest. And then exhale, walk the hands out. Now notice, because we're not working into hamstrings and inner thighs, you might be able to drape down a lot more. Go ahead and send yourself towards your edge of flexibility. You can even lower to the face if that's possible. Close your eyes. Notice you may have a little bit more sensation appearing in the right hip because that foot is further out in front. When we swap the position of the feet, we'll be able to feel this more to the left. Even though we still are opening the left as well. Now, since we're in a forward fold, focus on a longer, deeper exhalation. Inhale, slowly start to build up. I'm going to bring this bolster to the right hip. Slide the right foot out. And then you're going to flip your left foot. So now it's to the outside of your left hip. This right shin is still in front of you. And if you look at your knee and your heel, it should slightly line up with your hips. It may not be perfect or precise, but close. And then when you lift up through the navel, you're going to twist towards that bolster. And you may or may not need the bolster, okay? So sometimes it's nice just to prop on the forearms. And sometimes it's nice to spread the arms out and just to lower to the face. Interesting. Do either or. Feel that twist and rotation you're receiving in your low back and belly. This pose gives us an opportunity to slow down. Slow down our breath. Slow down the inner workings of the mind. When you're operating from an unconscious place, then we're disconnected from our center. We're disconnected from our divine essence. You're being present and conscious. And we're on the conscious path. And yoga is about being on the conscious path. So unplug from the world, but plug back into your own heart and soul. Stay for about 3 more breaths.
In conclusion of that third breath, slide the hands closer to the shoulders. Slowly straighten the arms to lift up. And then we're gonna come back to center. You can shift that bolster over to the left. We're gonna splay the legs out nice and wide again. That V formation. The toes are lifting up, the knees are facing the ceiling, the thighs are pushing down, and then crawl the hands out in front of you. You may find that it's the same edge, you may have found something open a little bit. You might be able to do more. No worries one way or the other. Konasana, wide angle pose. Affirming as you hold, I accept everything that comes my way as an opportunity for further growth. Even if it's a series of misfortunate events. Inhale, slowly start backward. All right, now we're gonna bring the right foot in first, Siddhasana, and then the left foot in front of that. So we're habitual creatures. One of these directions may feel slightly awkward. Lift up energetically, and then as you exhale, we're gonna fold it over the left. Just ponder for a moment whether or not you see sensitivity as being a strength or a weakness, and maybe it just depends on the circumstance. For instance, I'm sensitive to food dyes. That's unfortunate. It's out of my control. But think about someone who has been traumatized, right? With, say, an escalator or an elevator. That is something they're going to be extremely sensitive towards because of the accident. So in psychology, some psychologists are now using things to desensitize people for a good reason, right? For a child who had their shoe caught on an escalator and they thought they were getting sucked under, right? That's traumatizing. They're going to have to teach this child, okay, if your shoes are laced, you can hold the rail, you can hold my hand. It is a safe device. On your next in-breath, let's gently begin to back out of this position. And then we need to reshape the legs. So we'll lift the right knee, set the foot to the side, and maybe slide this left foot over so it's more or less in line with your hips. Then that bolster can come over to the left. You can lift through the part and exhale, wind your way around to the prop. Stacking on top, or maybe draping all the way down. So if you're wanting sensation here, actually staying on the forearms may give that to you versus plummeting all the way down to rest on your chest. Affirming as you move. Opening myself up to a new flow of energy and consciousness within. And the next inhale. Slowly slide the hands closer and begin to build ourselves up out of that position. Once you build yourself out of that position, you're going to straighten your left leg and bring the right foot to meet your inner thigh. Flex the left foot, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, begin to lower out over the straight leg. Spinning the right rib cage of the navel over in that direction. If it feels okay for the neck, you're looking out beyond the toes. If that's not great for the neck, just lower your gaze towards your knee instead. On your next inhale, reach the arms forward. Slowly come all the way up to the top. Keep that ankle flexed in front. Try to keep your seat rooted and swirl to the right. Let the left hand come to the bent knee and the right hand drop to the floor behind your back. Now gaze across that back shoulder. Maybe look sharply through the right corner of the eyes. Affirming and radiate my love, goodwill, compassion to soul friends everywhere. And then pick up your right hand. Let your neck become more neutral, and then you're going to curve out over the front leg. So you've got a twist, but you also have a side stretch. Put a little bit more breath into the right lung. Inhale, use the right arm to come up. Exhale, release the left hand to unwind. All right, lift your right knee, slide that leg out, bend your left, and then turn open from the hip. Janu Shasana first. Reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, pour it down. Make sure you get that little rotation from the navel. So it's spinning towards the right thigh. Looking out towards the toes or towards your knee. Inhale, reach the arms forward, slowly climb up to the top. Once the spine's erect, you can spin to the left. Left hand behind you, right hand to the bent knee. Gazing across the back shoulder. Learning, I radiate my love, goodwill, compassion to soul friends everywhere. Inhale, lift that left arm. Exhale, curve out over the front leg. Pavarita Janu Shasana. Now put more breath into that left lung. And inhale, let the left arm build you back up. And as you exhale, unwind. All right, slide your right foot in. Lift up through the top of the head. Exhale, hinge forward, Baddha Konasana. Bound ankle pose. Focus on your breath. Notice the areas that have more sensitivity in the body. Is it because you're holding stress? Is it because of maybe past injury? Is it something new and you have no idea? It's those places where we have more sensitivity physically that we really want to honor. If anything is sharp or shooting, you want to come out. Dull or achy, it's okay to stay in. But those areas that have a little bit more sensitivity may be where you want to put your focus with your home practice. Inhale, gently come up. Separate the feet with the knees bent. Hold on to your shins. Take cow tilt here on the inhale. And reverse it to cat stretch on the exhale. So drive the heart through the knees as they widen. Shoulders squeeze back towards the vertebrae as the chin juts up. And as the exhale comes in, the tailbone tucks, the belly scoops in, the arms straighten, and the chin tucks to the chest. Last one. All right, so you can choose to be here in your squat. You can choose to lift onto a block in the squat. You can choose to be in a regular squat without the floor or rocks. So I'll let you determine what is best for you today. And you could even do the squat from the chair if you wanted to, okay? Or from the floor if you wanted to stay down. Just breathe. Does everybody have 2 blocks? Sure. Okay. We are going to use 2 blocks in the moment. Not yet, a little bit later. All right, bring the hands down. We'll slowly straighten out the legs. We'll heel toe the feet a little closer together. So they're lined up for our Uttanasana. And even though we work the hamstrings a little bit, it may be a little sensitive still. If you haven't moved a lot today. Hamstrings and hips usually are the more sensitive areas earlier in the day. Let your head spill down, let your neck unravel any tension. You can even nod your head yes or no, or create a blend. And on your next inhale, let's root the feet, sweep the arms to the sides and up overhead. And then exhale, bring hands to the heart. If you're at the back of the mat, it's a good time to step to the front of the mat. And we're going to be doing sun south, so you can bring the chair to the end now. So look down at your feet, rock and roll from your heels to your toes. They're nice and broad. And then zip up through the legs, zip up through your midriff, hands to prayer position. Sweep the arms to your sides and up on the next inhale, and as you exhale, flow down to your Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, let your hands come up your shins. Stretch long through your spine. Look out with your eyes, and exhale, gently fold in. On your next in-breath, we're gonna plant the palms and step to plank. From plank position, stay here unless you need to lower the knees to table. Remember, when we go to chaturanga, you can still be on the knees for that. Otherwise, rock forward, lower down to your chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, rise to upward facing dog. And then exhale, rock and roll back to downward facing dog. Holding your downward facing dog, pressing into the palms, stretching long through your arms. Slightly pumping up through your heels. Look at the space between the toes. Make sure it's not especially wide because we're going to be lifting one leg up. So just a little gap between the big toes so that when you inhale, lift your right leg up. Notice if your shoulders buckled or if they rock towards the hands. If that's the case, apply more pressure into the palms, stretch deeper through your arms, and feel as though that right heel is an extension of your tailbone. And then exhale, lower the right foot down. Inhale, immediately lift your left leg up. Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana, switching sides. Again, notice, did your elbows start to bend? Did your shoulders buckle? Can you root your palms, stretch long through your arms, create space in between each vertebra. Imagine that left heel is an extension of the tailbone, and then lower that foot to the floor. Rock forward, plank. Exhaling Chaturanga Dandasana and come all the way down to the belly. Once you come down to the belly, stretch your legs back, lifting each one specifically and then gluing the top portions of the feet to the floor. Separate your hands out, rest on the fingertips, lift the elbows up to create the neck wings of a cobra, and inhale, come to Bhujangasana, where you're on your pubic bone, your head is up, your breath is full. Exhale, come back down to the brow. Slide your hands up underneath your shoulders. Curl the toes under. Start to lift the head, then roll the hips up and back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you re-arrive to downward facing dog, again, no extra gap between the big toes, just a few inches. We're gonna, again, lift the right leg halfway up. Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. What gave out in your arms and hands? There might have even been just a lessening of the pressure in your palms. So reapply that pressure. Stretch back. Keep breathing. Good. Exhale, lower the right foot. Immediately inhale, lift the left leg up. Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. The head's drooping down between the arm bones. You're looking back towards the standing foot. Your hips are square and your shoulders are level. And then gently lower the left foot. Walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Come up halfway when you arrive to Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, flow back down to Uttanasana. Now be here, affirming nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Root the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms to your sides and up. And then exhale, bring hands all the way down. All right, we're gonna keep the blocks there. But you guys turn to this side of the room, you guys turn to this side of the room, and you will not be mirroring each other. Let your feet be wide open. And then rotate your left foot towards the short end of the mat and lunge the knee. Once you lunge that knee, we're trying to get into warrior two. So I was a little short in my stance. I could go deeper. So I slid my feet a little bit wider. Check in with your body. Make sure that left thigh's rolling open. Fly the arms out, shoulder height, radiate out through the fingertips. Be here in warrior two.
Again, you're not mirroring each other. We're all lunging that left knee, looking down the left fingertips, and then flip that palm open, sail it overhead, and let your right arm hang back behind. From side warrior, exhale, bring the elbow down, reach the right arm overhead. Now we're inside angle. There's other expressions if you want a different one than what I'm leading you to. All right, we're gonna do that again. Inhale, keep that front knee bent. Warrior two, I'm feeling the burn too. Flip the left palm, open it up. Susan, you looked at me like, I don't feel it.
No, I do.
Okay. I'm like, is it just me? Exhale, elbow down, right arm up. Good, now inhale, draw it all the way up, straighten that left leg, give a little relief. And then turn the left foot in. Right foot out. No, I also said it because I was like, did I do too much in the last class? All right, bend and lunge into that right knee. Lift through the navel, through your chest with your arms. Good, roll open through that right thigh bone. Look out through the right fingertips. Affirming here, I joyfully manifest the power of my own sensitivities. And then flip the right hand, sail it up. Left arm hangs back. On your next exhale, your right elbow can come down to side angle. Parsvakonasana. We're going to set up for one more of those flows. Inhale, return, warrior two. Flip the right hand, take it into the side warrior. Exhale into the side angle. Good, inhale, come up, straighten that right leg, turn the right foot in. Now turn the foot that's facing the front of your mat. That'll be different for the two halves of the room, and then step up. Okay, we're gonna work with some balance, but we're gonna use blocks to help us today. So we're gonna have the blocks underneath the shoulders. And Trish, you can also use the chair. Okay. And I just bring all four legs on the chair so it's really stable, yeah. So with your feet on the floor, your spine elongated and your hands on the blocks. Does that work for everyone? Hamstring wise? Looks like it. Okay, cool. We're gonna take the feet and bring them just slightly closer together. So there's maybe just like an inch in between the big toes. All right, when you're ready, you're gonna slowly take the right leg up behind you, as though you're trying to reach that foot towards the back wall. Now spread your toes and push a little extra through the mound of the big toe. Keep the hips pretty square and even. You should feel the whole circumference of your left thigh working. Yes. All right, you have the option to stay there, but you also have the option on your exhale to curl in, bending both knees, drawing the nose and knee towards each other, and then inhale, you're straightening the legs and the back again. Exhale, contract, curl in. Slow, controlled movement. Inhale, power back through the right foot out to the crown, and then exhale, stretch it. Inhale, last one. And then stay on the block, stay on the standing leg, power the right foot back behind. Take one last deep breath in. Exhale, lower the right foot. All right, we're replacing that now. Inhale, left leg shines back behind us. Radiate your heart forward. Exhale, contract, curl in.
Slow, controlled movement. Inhale, you're straightening both legs, straightening out the vertebrae. Exhale, curling in. And on this last one, just hold, breathe. And then exhale, land your left foot. And then back the hands away from the blocks and come up. All right, rotate your wrists. Circle the arms up as you rotate the wrists. And then rotate the hands the opposite way. Bring them back down. All right, standing with attention, feet planted. Inhale, the right arm reaches up. And as you exhale, you're gonna spin to the right, reach the arm towards the back wall, and then lower it down beside you. And turn back to face the front. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Slowly rotates open. Reaching to the back wall. And then eventually just sitting down and you can face the front. One more time, right side lifts. Exhale, bring it back behind you and then alongside you. Inhale, left arm reaches up, crosses back, and then exhale, bring it down and turn back to face the front. All right, so when we're going into half moon, we are spinning open, right? There's an element here. So if you're going to use your block, you're going to have your left foot, the center of the mat, and you can use the chair instead of a block under your hand, Trisha. Now it's important when you use the block, it's going to go to the outside of the pinky toe, much ahead of the foot. And then we roll open through the torso and fly the right arm skyward. Ardha Chandrasana half moon. Now when you're ready to come out, slowly come out. You're probably like, why were we in that so long? Because I happened to look at Donna and I'm like, Donna's in half moon and she started half moon. I want a picture of her in half moon. I'm sorry. I'll let you in a long. All that energy. It was beautiful. So you're gonna find when you're doing this solo, there's a little, like, it's a little frightful sometimes because you feel yourself kind of tipsy. So if you're finding that's the case for you, you can use a wall. I know we don't have tons of wall space here, but anytime we're instructing it, all you have to do is go to a wall. You leave a little space for your foot because the block will actually go to the wall. And then you roll open and you're here. And it's just nice to just relax into it. And you really get really great form with that too. So with that being said, we're going to try the right side. If you want a wall, feel free to use one. Otherwise, freestyle it with me on the mat. I would say foot to the center, block in the right hand. And then once you lift the back leg, see if it's possible to roll open and lift the left arm. Good. I love it.
All right, when you're ready to come out, cautiously come out. So at the wall, if you're to do it. Spinning.
It did feel less
That
easy.
wasn't that graceful. And if you learn to do it at the wall that gracefully, you can learn to do it on the mat that gracefully, right? Because you really can be here. All right. Enough standing stuff. We're coming back to the floor. Let's bring it on down. Let's see how much time we've got left. Sweet. Okay. I want it to be on our backs a minute. So when you come down to your back, you're going to cross your left ankle over the right knee. And this may be enough. However, if you want to feel more, lift your right foot off the floor. Link your hands together behind your right thigh and hug in. There are times where we may be more or less sensitive to certain postures, depending on what's happening in life. Because life shows up in the body. And this area that we're working with now concerns relations and work and finances and things that make us feel secure or insecure. And your next in breath, if you are hugging in, you're going to float the right foot up. Point the toes. Keep pointing, keep pointing, keep pointing. And now flex the other way. Pump up through your heels. Spread the toes and spill them down. And now rotate your foot, circling from the ankle. Several times one way, then the other. And then return it back down. Land your left foot. Crisscross your right ankle over the left knee. Check in, this might be enough. If you want more, pick up the left foot, lace your hands behind your leg, hugging it in, keeping that sacrum anchored down. If you are hugging in, float the left foot up, but point your toes, keep it pointed. Feel the stretch in the top of the foot, the front of the ankle, the muscles attaching to the shin, and then flex the opposite way and feel the work in your calf. And then rotate the foot several times one way, then the other. And release. Okay, we have all these great prompts. And on this next asana, I want you to, kind of be thinking about what you want for Shavasana. But we're going to float the feet so they're just barely above the floor. The knees are lined up over the round of the pelvis. Okay, so we're not drawing the knees towards the chest. The knees are pointed right now towards the ceiling, but we're going to slightly angle them to the right several inches. We're going to pull them back through center and over to the left a few inches. Through center over to the right a few inches, possibly maybe a little bit more than before. And then taking it to the left.
Again, the same or a little bit more than before. And you're just casually rocking the knees from side to side. But with this precision, because I want you to massage the piriformis, the buttock region. So that was really fired up, you know, when we were extending the legs and curling in. You're also sneaking in some twist here. And the next time you come through center, after you've been off to the left, now tuck and hold your knees. Apanasana. So if you're on your back right now and you're like, oh my God, this feels so great, you're probably gonna want something like Stonehenge, where your back is as flat. If you're like, doesn't really matter to me, you might want corpse pose. If you have been feeling grief or a sense of loneliness, I would suggest a back bend. Pulling that bolster underneath your spine, open the heart and the lungs. Go ahead and determine how you want to set up for your rest. And I'm going to change out the music. I want us to listen to something specific. And it's some singing bowls, even though it's coming from a soundtrack. Even more specifically, these tones are related back to the mind's eye, to the sixth chakra, which also relates to the sixth sense of our intuition. Meditation is the pinnacle of yoga. So it's not actually all the yoga that makes us more sensitive. It's the meditation that makes us more sensitive. Because the meditation is helping us to achieve a deeper state of purification. Years ago, I shared with you a study that scientists did with the monks that live in India, dedicated to the path of the Dalai Lama. And when the scientists went in to study their brains, they discovered through the scans, through the testing, that there were certain places, more specifically in the prefrontal lobe of the brain, that were lit up and used more than regular humans or people who didn't meditate. And they discovered that it helped to enhance compassion. And that study surprised me because I've always just considered compassion being something that stems from the heart. Because they actually were able to study it from the mind. When we're
compassionate, we're feeling the sensitivity of what others are going through. Maybe because we've been through something similar ourselves. Or we can put ourselves in their place. So all I'm asking you to do now is either listen to the music, absorb this particular tone, and to gaze in and up to your mind's eye. Stimulating this point through your drishti, through your listening.
begin to deepen the flow of our breath. Right, a little movement in here or there. Slowly exiting the pose that you chose. Eventually joining us all. A comfortable seat. Running your hands to prayer position in your heart. Light in me honors and respectfully bows to the beautiful radiant light in each of you. May we continue our yoga beyond the mat. May we notice the sensitivity of the heart. May we also equally notice what we've been desensitized towards. Shanti, shanti, shanti. I am going to be here Friday nights from 6 to 8 doing restorative and Reiki. If you want to join.